There is more Oscar buzz every day for my next guest, Hilary Swank, for her deeply moving performance as Betty Ann Waters, whose brother was arrested and convicted for the murder of a Massachusetts waitress. Betty Ann knew her brother was innocent. What she did next is the powerful, true story told in the new movie Conviction, directed by Tony Goldwyn. In this scene, Betty Ann has just learned her brother has lost all hope and tried to kill himself in prison.
How could you do this?
What, this? You'd be better off.
God damn it, Kenny. Promise me you'll never do this again.
There's nothing left. It's over.
There's still the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court? Supreme Court ain't gonna hear this case. I'm I was right from the start.
You can't give up. We'll find somebody else. I'll take out a loan. We'll get a top lawyer this time.
Hey, when are you gonna get it, Betty Ann? There is no one else. There's not a lawyer around earth to give a about me.
There has to be. You're innocent.
You sure about that?
How could you ask me that? How could you ask me that?
Doesn't matter whether I kill Mrs. Brown or not. I'm a piece of shit, honey. I'm no good to anybody.
What about your daughter?
What daughter? She's being poisoned against me. I'm never gonna see her again.
That is not true.
I gotta go. Don't do Amanda a favor. She's the one good thing I ever did in my piece of life, and I got nothing to give her.
Please, Kenny, wait. You promised me you'll never hurt yourself again. Promise me.
I can't spend the rest of my life in here.
Anyway.
Joining me now, the star of Conviction, two-time Academy Award-winning actress Hilary Swank, and the film's director, Tony Goldwyn. Thank you both for joining me tonight. Hilary, we just saw that scene, that powerful scene in the prison. What did Betty Ann do after that?
After that, Betty Ann was obviously couldn't believe what had happened and didn't want to lose her brother. So she got her GED. She went to community college. Then she went to college and then law school to become a lawyer to get her brother out of prison because she firmly believed he was innocent.
It is an amazing story. I just, my father was a Boston cop who went to law school nights, and everybody said, hey, that's impossible. But this story is much tougher. And Tony Goldwyn, you had an 18-year story to tell here with this saga of taking her through her education, becoming a lawyer, then handling her brother's appeal. How did you put that together in the space of this movie? It's beautifully done.
Oh, thanks, Lawrence. Well, we really, Pamela Gray, our screenwriter, and I came up with a sort of three-tiered time structure. I didn't want to kind of tell it in a very straightforward, conventional way anyway. So we take the time from that she went to law school, also the time 10, 15 years earlier when the crime happened and when they were young, and then much earlier we have sequences when they're children as well, and we kind of interweave those three time periods and are able to we're able to excise big chunks of time and tell the story more efficiently in that way.
Hilary, your character covers a long period of time, and she's moving through an educational experience from high school dropout to lawyer. First of all, by the way, I got to tell you, being from that area, you do a wicked good job on the accent, okay? I was absolutely startled. Thank you. But how did you build that character through time, and how did she change through her education and through the experiences she was going through?
That's a good question, and we shouldn't forget to add that we're also talking about a single mother of two. You know, you add that to it, and you're just, I mean, what she accomplished was extraordinary, and that's the thing, is that this was this ordinary woman who was doing something that was so extraordinary. You know, it did span an 18-year time frame, so to understand who she was emotionally and how she changed physically during those 18 years was a great challenge to me as an actor, and to, you know, this was a woman who transformed herself through sheer will and strength, so to transform into her heart and to understand where she was coming from, where this drive, determination, and selfless love came from, was a lot of my work, along with, like you said, figuring out that accent, which took me about 8 weeks. I think it was one of the more challenging ones I've dove into to date.
The accent is wicked hard. I wouldn't recommend any actor trying it, but you guys pulled it off. And Tony, I think you have the honor of directing Hillary in what is her next Oscar nomination, and I hope win. And I think possibly also for Sam Rockwell, whose performance is absolutely extraordinary. I sat there watching the movie not knowing who I was watching for a while, the way he disappeared into that character. How did you get Hillary and Sam and the other characters to go that deep into these very local Boston area characters?
Well, it's all about finding the right actors, you know. And then you just let them do what they do. I mean, Hillary and Sam are both actors that just dig incredibly deep into every character that they do and commit so fully. So, you know, I never had other people in mind, really. You know, I thought of Sam from the first time I started working on this story years and years ago, and you know, when I thought of Hillary, I realized there was no one else to play this part. So really, it's just casting the right people.
Hillary, you're a politically aware person. You know that
what I have to just say, though,
innocent people being convicted, DNA evidence being brought to bear to solve some of these cases that never would have been solvable before. But what more did you learn about it by going through this particular story? What do you think America needs to know about the judicial system, about what's going on in terms of these kinds of wrongful convictions?
Well, it's true that really every opportunity I get as an actor, I get to see the world in a whole new way, in a way that I probably wouldn't had I not been an actor. And to, you know, walk in Betty Ann's shoes for a while and to see what happened to her and how her life changed and Kenny's life changed through. I mean, he spent 18 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. The idea that that has happened not only to one but numerous people. The Innocence Project has worked through the use of DNA to exonerate 259 people to date, and I think 8 of those people were actually on death row. We don't know how many people were actually executed who didn't have DNA, and how many innocent people are in prison who don't have DNA. So hopefully this movie will shine a bright light on, I think, a flawed judicial system, you know, and so we can look and dive into how we can make sure that this doesn't happen. It works in a lot of other ways, but not in these other very sad ways.
Tony, you brought Peter Gallagher in to play Barry Scheck, who actually, in the true story, helps Hillary's character in the final appeal stages of this. And Barry Scheck's been involved in this Innocence Project for many years now. There are many, many stories to tell. I think I can see a TV series in this movie. What happens next?
Well, you know, you and I have discussed this before. You know, there's so many incredible stories. Every time you hear, or every time I meet an exoneree, someone who's been, you know, released from prison for a crime they didn't commit, you know, everyone's story is just extraordinary. So I haven't stopped telling them, and you know, hopefully you'll be seeing more, because the more people become aware of these stories, that's really how things are going to change. Because we want closure in our society, and it's too easy to say, oh, that guy did it, you know, he's in jail, so that means he's guilty. And so the more you learn about this, the more you say, wait a minute, you know, in a lot of these cases we need to take a second look.
I got to tell my audience, you cannot see better performances in any movie this weekend than Conviction. You got to see this. Hillary Swank and Tony Goldwyn, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Hillary, you got to start shopping for those awards gowns. You're going to need them.
Thanks, Lawrence. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on. Really appreciate it.